Super joke, super joke. Welcome on, my lovely goblins and ghouls of the internet. I'm Anya, your demonic cinephile, and thank you for coming in tonight. We are going to jump into, hopefully, the final act of Higurashi, which I probably should have made this a final act, because now that I'm actually starting to really rethink it, this act's going to be a pretty long. This final part of it's probably going to be pretty long, so I may actually have to break it up tonight. It's just, I went to start earlier, but had to start dinner. Dinner took longer than I suspected. And sit down and eat with the fam and interactions and all that jazz. But yeah, sorry I had to delay. But we're going to try to finish as much as we can tonight. It only sucks because I had to get up early. But let's get off. And let's jump back in. Isn't the sound of cicadas? Isn't it so playful? So pleasant. It's so pleasant. Alright, let me fix my monitor real quick. Move this over there. And move this over here. Now, I really need a second monitor. I just don't have a big desk for it. Alright, there we go. We looked at all the tips last time, right? Yeah, we looked at that. We read that. I will continue. Load. Alright, so last time we were here. Wait, the screen cut off. Ah, there we go. That's better. That is better. Actually, no, let me do this instead. Let me make that a full screen. And I'll pull this up right here. Alright, that works a lot better. Okay, so last time we were here, it was Keiji just woke up from after having a very disturbing call from Shion. Or is it Shion? Or is it Mion? We don't know. I know, but you don't know. And while he was sulking, terrified and afraid, in the morning, Arena came by, cheered him up, told him all the things he needed to hear, and now they're going off to confront Mion. But Detective Oshi is outside the door. Let's jump back in, shall we? Whoa, serious Rena face. Serious Rena face. Pain and sadness. I look down at those emotions built up in my heart. I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was be thankful for how dependable Rena was. At Rena's urging, I revealed everything to Oshi-san. The latter, while making sure to throw in murmurs that he was paying attention, every now and then took notes. We continued that way for a while. Oshi-san asked this while scratching his head with his ballpoint pen. Of course, I don't feel better. The price that had been paid until now for me not owning up to my crimes have been so immense. But as long as the payment wasn't returned, the load on my chest could never be removed. His radio started to emit static. Oh. So they're staking out Mion's house. Bzz. The radio grew silent. It won't do. Okay. Oshi-san has suspected Mion for a long time. What? Rena's tone of voice alone was enough to make her spite clear as she stared at Oshi-san. Oshi-san. He wants to use you as bait. Oshi-san lit a cigarette and responded to Rena, wearing an expression implying he was calm and willing to let her comments slide. Oh, I just noticed, is that, can you guys hear the air, the fan up above me? It doesn't seem to be catching on to the microphone, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm curious. Real quick, I'm sorry. 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 I just don't want it being too loud. I don't want it being too loud. It sounds good. Okay. So let's do this off. Off. There we go. I only understood about half of what Rena said. I knew everything that Oshi-san had been trying to use me. Yeah, he kind of needs to get hurt. Yeah, it looks like it's picking up. Shit. Give it up. Oh, 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 oh. Ain't bad. I'll turn it once. Let me see. Come on. Off you go, you little bastard. Off, 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 off. Forget this. We'll just turn the switch off and deal with this. Deal with that. There we go. I cannot stand that. You have to keep track how many times someone's clicked the fan on, just so you know how many times to click it off. It's annoying. It's annoying. Annoying. Hey, look at this. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm in the driver's seat. Now, put you back. And go back over here. And back over here. And let me just reposition myself. There we go. Yes. Rena would be an excellent addition to the police force. Rena would be a scary detective. She has good intuition. Rena spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility. I can be shot at, yelled at, cursed at, but child insulting my integrity? That's where I draw the line, Missy. Ochi-san seemed to be enjoying his exchange with Rena. The things it the things this man thought were like a swamp. I could barely see past the surface. It reminded me again of how much I dislike him. We're gonna go talk to our friend. That's right. She turned herself in rather than be arrested. She might get a lighter sentence. At this point, perhaps that was the only pity I could find in me to afford her. All she said was measuring our resolve. So, in a strong voice, I declared, Oshi-san gave us an unpleasant yet seamlessly satisfied grin. It was then that I realized this man was trying to use us for his own convenience. I surrender. Throwing up the white flag. Plus, it would be another way of pressuring Mion to give herself up, wouldn't it? We're having a little play date. A little tea party. Their altogether too short conversation implied that our questioning was already a part of their plan. Let me turn this down. I feel like my voice is peaking a little bit. That better? If it's worse, please let me know. Want to buy some tea biscuits on the way there? Have a little breakfast, maybe stop at McDonald's. Neither Anna nor I went along with Oshi-san's stupid joke. Well, come on, like, I hate McDonald's, but I have to admit that McGriddle is really, really good. I wouldn't pay for it, but if someone's buying, then I'll go ahead and take them up on the offer. Oshi stopped the car at the place where we always waited for Mion. Come to think of it, I've never been to Mion's house before. I've only heard that it's right down this road. Okay. In both our eyes was determination. It was the only method available to us for lightening the sins of our good friend. Oh, he does care. Probably. With that rude response, we left the car. The clean humidity and voices of the cicadas greeted us. I never had expected this would be happening today. Oh shit, I forgot that was down there. Sorry. Ignore that part, ignore that. Renata took the lead and began to walk. Down the road I'd never been. Oh, that sounds nice. Big enough to fit a mountain. That was amazing. One of the three families controlling Hinamizawa, and the head family of the Sonizaki clan. Perhaps there was something to be said about its magnitude. The path continued onward, level and eventful. There were metal fences along its edges, and beyond them were woods, with trees growing thickly. The fences were high, the tops of them bent inwards, sticking out like sharp spears. Plus, there was dangerous-looking barbed wire wrapped around them. No one could look at them and not feel intimidated. In addition, There were signboards hung up here and there along the fences. Private property of the Sonosaki family. Entrance forbidden. Beware of venomous snakes. Advanced security cameras. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1 million yen. Their domain. They are lords of this island. She could say that again. It really did feel like a neglected savage woodland. It was dark and damp, and certainly not a forest that made you want to go for a nice walk. Maybe that's just what happens when landowner has too much land. Like Oshi-san said, there were security cameras hung up all over the place. Though they had been weathered by wind and rain, casting doubt as to whether they were even functional. What the heck? I thought the microphone was acting a little weird for a second. It was picking up noises that weren't here. What a useless security system. Oh yeah, I've never seen Neon's father yet. Mm-hmm. That's right. Mia's father. He was a big shot Yakuza, wasn't he? Rena smoothly danced around the answer as she was explained. At last, a huge gate, as big as I imagined, appeared. Was she living here? She living by herself with her grandmother? In a house with such a grand gateway? Beep! The yellow buzzer made a dull sound. Was it cut off in the middle and not getting to the house? We waited long enough without a response for me to start thinking like that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking along the gravel on the other side of the gate. Nervously, I balled my hands, my palms now sweating into fists. There was a clang of a bolt being released, and the gate opened slightly. The person peeking out of the gate was none other than Mion. Mion didn't seem all that surprised at visitors arriving in the morning, which wasn't a normal time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand. We try. Are we? We try not to be. Mion smiled slightly, in a way that Mion we all knew always did. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment, looking at Rena. Rena smiled cheerfully, as if she were passing through the gate of a good friend's house, and then did just that. I rally myself and then go through the gate too. On the other side, it hadn't been maintained very well, but it was clear that the lot magnificently wide. It wasn't quite what you think of when you hear mansion, but it was. Uh, it wasn't quite what you think of when you hear mansion, but it was very clearly a vast place. Ooh, tourist attraction. Okay. Mia dryly smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and relocked the heavy bolt. Yeah, there's a dangerous maniac running around. You can't be too careful. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw the hint of a shadow in her smile. Mian bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, then pivoted on her heel and began to walk. Rena gripped my sifting arm lightly. Yeah, yeah, I just came to see Mi-chan, our good friend. You're right. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show on my face. I'll stop tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us. Oh, Shisan's subordinates were waiting outside the gate for us, too. Oh, wrong button. Wrong button. Get off. Get off. There was nothing to worry about. After thinking about it that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone. I laughed at myself. Ooh, is it inside the house? Stone on top of the newspapers. There was a pile of newspapers on the floor of the entrance. There was a large rock on top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was even here. Rena noticed me looking at it questioningly and giggled. What? What's so funny? Shoes? What's so funny? And nest of swallows? What? Okay. Is that like a big thing? Like in a city? Like in the countryside, Japan? What? Like, I never heard that before. I couldn't help but laugh at the silly contrivance. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. Silkworms are just desserts. Yeah, Jack the Swallows now this day. The inside of the house wasn't very bright at all. It was dimly lit. In fact, but mysteriously, I could still feel an elegance to the place. Neon seemed to want more modern building, but traditional houses like these aren't bad either. Oh no. I'm gonna turn this place into a Western style mansion. A house like mine? No, your house is amazing. Downfall is a problem? Oh, you are in the mountains, so probably. Well, I don't know. I'm so new. Oh no. I wasn't aware of that. Hinamizawa was a bad place in the winter. Come think of it, my dad, he said something like, "This place got plenty of snow, so we should have fun building igloos." Still, your front door getting buried? Not being able to find your car? That's way too much snow. No. I like the snow. Cold is better than the heat. I don't want to be a part of that training camp. Mia laughed more uproariously than she ever had, and told us she'd bring out some tea and left the seat for the moment. Yeah! It sounds horrible. No, Get-chan, how can you say that? Mr. Redhorn. Like what? No! I see the terror of our club carry not for the season. The victor would be decided by who could be best adapt to the winter only events. Treasure hunts in the snow? That's, that sounds kind of fun. That sounds kind of fun. Can I get on this action? The torment you. Yeah. You're gonna lose a lot this winter. Oh. But would not like the cold. Oh, well, they all had to grow up in it. Oh, except for Rina. She's used to it for 1 year. Yeah, I think all of these kids liking the cold. Where did the cap go? I dropped the cap for my drink. No one spilled on the computer. Where is it? Oh, focus all underneath the table. I'm not getting that. I'll create even bigger mess if I try to get it. I still think with a cross chop to the head. Aw, don't be mean to Lena. She just found her so cute. Yes, we are. Okay. The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and a complete tea set. And with those words, the smile disappeared from Rena's face. Ah, she did it. That one careless statement reminded us what we had nearly been able to forget. I had wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little longer, but we put an end to that with those honestly careless words. When she noticed, the smile disappeared from Rena's expression. Mion, too, changed hers. It was like if the cheerful air that was like a warm spring day until a moment ago had slipped through the cracks into the paper door and altogether disappeared. There was no point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Rena and I sat kneeling without uttering a word. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement at those natural words of courtesy. Aww, she looks so upset. Mion gave us a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders droop. Stunned silence. Catch got your tongue. We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that someone else would speak up first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do, so we sat for a long time. At last, Mion smiled scornfully and opened her mouth to speak. Rena and I exchanged glances, and we both resigned ourselves. Rena opened her mouth to speak first, so I stopped her. Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Aw, you're being adorable. My little Rena and Kei-chan aren't meant for each other. Aww. I love this little teasing. It's so cute when they're just being pals and everything. Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing consideration. Mion said those mean things in a totally normal voice and drained the tension from my shoulders. You do? Mion pretended that she didn't know what I was talking about, but I clearly gotten my point across. I could see Mion's expression immediately become harder. But you didn't mean nothing by it. That doesn't change the fact, Keiichi. To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead to the table. I meant it as my way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right now, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sounds of the clock ticking. That was all. Then I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long. Mion told me to stop. I looked up to see what that Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly. You did was wrong. Do you forgive him, Mion? I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. Mion spoke like it was someone else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it. Renault was giving her tit for tat, and so the room's atmosphere quickly began to grow sharper. Once again, get up real quick. Yep. Okay, back. Yeah. I hate the sound of cicadas. They get into me. Oh no. There we go. She was right. Even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, it felt like she hadn't been taking this seriously. Honestly, Rena isn't fond of that. I can get up? Okay. I had known. I had known it would turn out like this from the beginning. Hadn't I come here prepared for that? I mustered my willpower. It bit my lip. Oh no. Oh no. Big bowl of soy sauce. Mia was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I did miss her eyelid twitching just a little bit. Mia put a finger to her forehead and acted like she was thinking. Drop the act. We know you're lying. You're a faker. Mian scratched her head. I heard her ever so faintly click her tongue. It was as though we found out she purposely given too little change to a servant. That's all I could feel from her. Rina hesitated for a moment. I could tell she didn't want to use the word erased, and that she was struggling to find another word. Whew. You sound just like her. Might Rika-chan be imposing on you? Might Rika-chan be imposing on you? Lure her out? Like how? Mia prodded Rina on, as if trying to get to the good part of an interesting story. I, however, knew I had been watching Mion change the whole time. She was restlessly twirling her fingers. She had clearly lost her calm. Of course, it was really a slight thing, and only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Rena was saying must have been a bullseye. Set to go. Scratch. Mion's nails dug into her knee. No, 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 no. We are not scratching things out again. Hey. Oh. For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe that this person in front of her was Rina. She getting to you? She getting to you? Mia's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face. That's... Ah, shit. I was looking. TV got turned back on. I thought I had this stupid thing shut off. Why are you turning it back on? Why, sir? Why are you back on? There you go, sir. Go to sleep. I will wake you back up tomorrow. As if a dam had burst, Neon convulsed into laughter. Her laughter, though, definitely didn't make us want to laugh as well. Neon grew tired of her dumb laughter, heaved with a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost seemed like Neon had lost the detective punishment game for the club or something, and her punishment had been decided on. Oh, how fun that would have been if it was true. Well, the shoe fits, Rena. You should wear it. You'd be a cool detective. I played detective game with Rena in it. I think that'd be cool. As soon as she heard Oshi-san's name, Mia's eyes began to display panic more clearly so that anyone would be able to tell. Mia attempted to feign calm. It looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Rena's facial expression. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Neon seemed to accept the fact that the police were encircling the house. Neon didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which were still feigning calm. At last, Neon, who had been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushion and sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere in the room changed completely. Neon's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn you would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment. Neon had ceased to be Neon, but changed into Neon Sanzaki, the current heir to the Sanzaki house. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal. It was entirely different from the Neon that I knew. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe that she was a young leader who commanded the entire Sanzaki clan. Neon quietly placed both her hands on the tatami mat and gave a beautifully elegant bow. If this was really a tea ceremony, and named herself. Mion movements were so elegant that they could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. All Ren and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions, which we could never imagine that the normal her doing. What? What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes. Yeah. Ren and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things he wanted to ask me on. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. The first question Rena gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everyone wanted to know right now. That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why? Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rika-chan and Satoko. It meant for the mayor Tanako-san and Tomitaki-san as well. No, even further back, all the incidents have been occurring every year. For a little while, Mion couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put it into more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak. Alright, you tell us right now. She spoke clearly. She spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story for a long time ago. Yes, we learned it twice already. Rena nodded lightly and then shot me a glance asking me if I did. I returned her nod. Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi Village. Yes. I heard all about it then that night from Tanako-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the villages at the foot of the mountains and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended. And the tradition of worshipping Onofaguchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all detested. That was the kind of era it became. The abolition of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures. An era had begun, seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were beyond the means to try and reach the same level as the rest of the world. All things in Western style were so extolled, while all old, traditional things were to be scorned. That sort of era it was. At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand a global power in its own right. Conscriptions began, and they won the war after war. The first Shinzo Japanese War and the Russo Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out. Reckless climbed the staircase towards modernization. Label an isolated village of those afflicted with an incurable disease. They're just telling us everything, aren't they? Thus began harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onigafuchi. The children of the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamizawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot where they were touched by rubbing salt on it. When the adults said to the children, if you get lost in Hinamizawa, you would be kidnapped by demons, cut up into pieces, and devoured. Never, never go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a famine long ago, the people of Hinamizawa gathered up all the corpses they discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked them and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander addressed to the baseless slander, making Onigafuchi village historically accurate, thrilling history, all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of the people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end only there with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onigafuchi, it would be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages where one partner had lied about it, as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. I mean, yeah, that's an awful thing, but that shouldn't just be a straight up divorce. You know? You fight, don't talk to each other for a couple hours, and you make up. No, that's what a good relationship should be like. I heard about such discrimination towards those in small villages in civic class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage there was. A modern form of bullying. Bullying. Though I only memorized that because it was going to be on a test one time. I recall being suspicious about it and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan. What? With that, Mion smiled for the first time in, albeit in self-mockery. Okay. Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945. Mac Mac authors GHQ set to work on drastically improving mindsets and strove for appellation amongst discrimination. Wait 1 second, guys. Need to be right back, okay? Just give me a few minutes. I'll be need to check on something. Sorry. night. Sorry I had to go away for a minute. God, the computer is running hot. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I got like a couple minutes ago. I had to go check in a few things. Yeah, I need to plug the fan in. Computer, that thing like wants to blow up on us. There we go. Let's close down a few web pages. What else I have up on this stupid thing? Okay, you get off. You go off too. You too. You too. You too. And you too. Alright, hopefully it won't want to explode on us. But hey guys, how's your day been going so far? Right now we are playing Higurashi, Watanagashi. Tonight was going to be the final part for this arc, but it got in pretty late. I also remembered that there was actually a much more bigger part of this finale. So I might finish it on tomorrow night, depending on how much we do today. Where is the screen? There it is. So we just got into Mion's house. It's this big giant mansion, basically. And now she's kind of confessing to her motives and to why kind of like the whole history of discrimination against the people of Hinamizawa. How they're always seen as dirty demon people, and that they would have hard times getting jobs if they ever left the village. That people would divorce them as soon as they realized they're from Hinamizawa, or of course back in the day, Onigafuchi. They could feel day breaking on the dismal night that was the previous era. During that time, someone appeared who built up a fortune through a vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather, the husband of the elderly current family leader, Sohei Sanosaki. Ah, okay. Smart, smart, smart. Sohei didn't spend that fortune for his own pleasure either. He entrusted the entire amount to his wife, the leader of the Sanosaki house. Wow. I know the village had this grand history. They never they never touched that in the anime, and they barely said a fraction of this in the manga. Wow. But what, Hinamizawa came back to life, and that's how the Sanzaki family had established its current prosperity. They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who followed them. The giant family of Hinamizawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its influence. The Sonozaki family, the center of everything, would be extolled for a long time as the minds behind Hinamizawa's revitalization. Mion looked like she was honestly happy Rena had praised her. Uh-oh. Canned flesh incident? What the Canned flesh. That sounds pretty interesting. A little tasty. It sounded so heinous that just hearing it made me nauseous. Hinamizawa, a village in which demons lived and ate humans. They were just about to wipe away that cursed stigma. The light they have finally started to see in their peaceful lives grew hazy and disappeared. The shocking truth, as revealed by his former superior, the stolen perversions from the old Japanese army that had been a huge cornerstone for Hinamizawa revival, had been canned human flesh. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Sohei just the manager of food warehouses? His superior revealed that Sohei Sanzaki did not have the job of managing the food. In reality, Sohei's job during the war had been to exterminate pestilent mice and transport the corpses of those with infected diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the lowliness of his origins. As a result, he returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained. Perhaps that was the only fortunate thing to happen to him. Finally, Sohei was enlisted by an assassin, a military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse than the low, scorned, depressing customs of Onikafuchi village in the research they were carrying out. Could that have been, well, the bacterial corpses in the old Japanese army, or whatever? Kiichi-kun, you heard that before? Oh, I didn't know voice is going. What could it be? I was pretty sure it was Unit 731. It was a nightmare unit that was devoted to itself to researching terrifying bacterial weapons to break the deadlock in the war. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill the victims. How many days it would be when injected. How many days would be when swallowed. They dissected many people to find that out. Sometimes they wouldn't bother waiting until they were dead and dissected them while they were still alive. They would strap them into centrifuges while still alive and crush them in decompression chambers while still alive. When a live human decompresses, all the holes in their bodies get pushed outward and their intestines get pushed out of their anus like a snake and wiggling out of it. I have a feeling that I saw something like that in an old documentary one time. Makes me sick. And they still hate Hinamizawa, huh? You said it. Mion agreed with me, giving me a faint, sad smile. It wasn't much in a way of communication, but for some reason I was happy to have it right now. Oh, God, why was that in there? I mean, ugh. In case you don't know, Cogs, or anyone that's here, Unit 731, the thing they were talking about, that really happened. That was like one of the many awful things Japan did during World War II. And it was not not a good thing. Not a good thing. Not to spread false rumors, but I hear that's one thing that the Japanese government doesn't really like to talk about. You can see why. That's what I heard, and I'm sure that's true. So don't take that with a grain of salt. But that's probably why that wasn't dubbed by the voice actresses. They probably couldn't say that in the original release. Probably, I have no idea. The military's designs at the start of the war completely fell apart, and a chronic food shortage broke out all over the battlefront. The food shortage led to a malnutrition, and as their natural resistance lowered, the soldiers fell to one disease after another. Spirit and morale lowered as well, and they wouldn't be able to maintain their forces at this rate. Apparently, that's where the research started. At first, it was to find methods of delivering food to battlefields. It was very broad and included things from violent methods like stealing it from citizens to survival methods like how to cook unfamiliar insects and plant life. As they were working out the details, they kept straying off course and going out of control until they finally knocked down a door called Taboo. Corpses. Your fellow soldiers. The enemies from on the other side. Ren and I knew the answer without being told. So we didn't answer. Ugh. Yeah, to be called something so horrible your entire life, then to be forced to do it to survive. I can't. Mm, I can't imagine. Alas, they had a handful of test prototypes. When the soldiers learned it was human flesh, however, the scientists couldn't make anyone eat it. So it was apparently sent to the front lines. The cannons were labeled meat substitutes, and so that they wouldn't accidentally eat it themselves, they stamped the bottoms with a circle. Oh no! 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 No! Among them, those who cooked it in soy sauce, like it was suyaki, loved it the most. Rena really was pale-faced, and she looked like she was having difficulty continuing to sit on her knees. Mion looked at like she had more to say, but she sighed lightly and stopped there. Oh, poor kids. The stifling silence came back. What a seriously hopeless, sad story it was. They discriminated, and were discriminated against. Why must they attack worth and rank to do it? Attach worth and rank to do it. Why can't they live without looking down on people? Why? Why can't everyone enjoy life together? I didn't know. If they throw stones at if they throw stones at one of you, then two of you must throw stones back. The children asked her, why do they throw stones at two of us? Of course, the answer was simple. If they throw stones at two of you, throw them back with four. If they chase 8 of you with sticks, drive them off with 16. If they slander 30 of you, yell back with 60. Finally, the children asked, what if we were attacked by 1,000 people? Even that answer was simple. If 1,000 people attack you, then everyone in Hinamizawa will stand up against them. It was halfway through 1955. It was a time when riots over the treaty with the U.S. were rampant, a time of battle in action. The people of Hinamizawa joined together and fought, treating unfair discrimination towards one as a crime against them all. It didn't matter whether that one was a child or adult. If they heard that child had been told off, then everyone would crowd the house of the perpetrator, acting as a whole. If they heard an adult had been treated unfairly, men and women, young and old, would all band together and stand up against it. If you meddle with people from Hinamizawa, you would be in trouble. They probably figured that if they could make others think that they win. I recall how much of an impression it had left on me. As the people of Hinamizawa boldly came to my rescue, yet the people of Okinamiya averted their eyes so they wouldn't get involved. Why? Could I really have an opinion on such a long and difficult history, and I haven't moved here more than a year ago? Yet, I said it anyway. Man and demon join hands and live together in harmony. Didn't Oyashiro-sama remained in this world to watch over that? A cool gust of wind blows in from the outside, fluttering Mion's long, beautiful, clear hair. Mion kept her refreshing smile. Without answering, it didn't even change her expression. But even that became a silent answer. Yeah, why do that? I just hit enter. Herrick the Demon. Mion. Oreo Oni. I trace out the word Mion in the palm of my hand. Oh, she's right. The character for demon is there. Not only your name, but Oreo. Oh, that's right. The tattoo. When she said that, she quietly rose and began to lay her hand on her clothing. With just that exchange, I guess what she meant. Most likely, somewhere on her body, there was a permanent seal, such as a tattoo or marking, that proved that she inherited the demon. Neon didn't sit back down. She smoothly opened the paper door onto the porch. A refreshing breeze began to cleanse the damp air filling the room. Neon quietly gazed out of the wide yard for quite a while. On her shoulders was something I could never imagine the normal Mion carrying. It was heavy. Heavy. Truly heavy. History of Hinamizawa. No, of Onigafuchi weighing down on them. What kind of words could I possibly say to Mion like that? Rena wasn't saying anything to her either. Only the voices of the cicadas drowned out the silence. At last, after a long period of nothing, Mion murmured. Uh-huh. Which ones, Mion? What do you mean by that, Mion? She said it all without turning around, with her back to us. At some point, her tone of voice had gone back to being Mion we knew. You're gonna go to jail. No, none of that for you, Mion. You're going to jail. Mia leaned a shoulder against the paper door, then slid down it and flopped on the ground. It was an act of such resignation that just seeing it made me hurt inside. The numerous terrible crimes Mia had been part of suddenly began to fade from my mind. Hey, Mion, I don't care what happens after this. Can't you just try... Can you just try to struggle as much as you can? Try to run away? As soon as I began to think that way, Rena's ringing voice filled the room. The sharp points of her words stabbed in my chest, despite not being directed at me. You killed someone you were friends with. That we were friends with. Rena's words were more biting than any I had ever heard. Even now that we knew all the history, heavy history pressing down on Mion's shoulders, she had criticized her for killing our friends. My chest tightened. Oh no. That's all her fault. I replied on behalf of the Sansaki family leader. Ever since the string of freak death incidents, there seem to be people who are insolent towards Oyashiro-sama. So you shouldn't replace the lock with a simpler one. That said, the leader of the Kimiyoshi family, Old Man Kimiyoshi, is it that difficult for you, Rika-chan? Then I think it's okay to replace the lock, he said. The fact that it was a lock with a key was an indication of it being somewhere you mustn't enter. There's nobody bad enough to break into it and go inside, he said. Even if we were alike as leaders, I couldn't find it in me to argue with Old Man Kimiyoshi, since I owed him so much. In the end, we decided to change out the lock on the storehouse, and switch it to a really cheap and light padlock. Ah, get off! Aww, God, we haven't heard Rika's voice in a while. Are you sure about that? Meow meow. Aww. He's just pouring salt on this boy's wounds. Sobs escaped from my mouth. Something hot and wet dripped down in spades and fell into the tamani mat. No! My tears dripped and dropped, dripped and dropped, just until now I decided that it was Mion's fault. She killed Rika-chan and the others. That was wrong. The ones who killed them wasn't Mion. It was me. I had a chance to stop this tragedy from happening, and yet I didn't. Cheap curiosity got the better of me, and I didn't. If at a time I had stopped us from sneaking to the ritual storehouse, Rika-chan and the others wouldn't have had to die. If I had, then nothing would have happened. She would be spending our days. We would be spending our days having lots of fun, like we always did. Oh shit! Oh, the earphone just knocked the earphone right in my ear. You're an idiot, baka. If by shedding tears I could take it all back, then I would have filled up the room with them. However, such a meager act wouldn't be enough to redeem myself for the crime I have committed. I'm not. Mion gently began to speak to me, as if trying to reason with me. It's no big deal. Yes, you should have. Mion, why? Her masochistic laughter was sad. Especially because Mion boasted in the club that she would turn the tables on whatever predicaments presented themselves. It was so painful. As I looked at her, surprised, Rena stuck her fingers right at my forehead. That's right. Mian was so cunning that nobody could stand up to her. Even in our club, if she had seriously tried to kill me, I would have been dealt with on the very first night. So many people had been sacrificed, but I was always left out of the cold. When did I first realize it? Even though people were disappearing one after the other, for some reason I had this vague belief that only I would be left alive. Hmm. She's acting like full on possessed. Mian put a finger to her lips to say that Rena didn't need to talk. Mion fell silent. Rena's merciless words felt cruel. But they weren't meant to be. Maybe they were considerate. Like she was trying to help. Mion didn't open her mouth, but she smiled. Just a little. Crying children are the only things I can't beat. As she rose, scratching her head, her face had returned entirely to that of usual Mion. Nope, you're going away forever. I couldn't say anything. The number of deaths Mion was involved in was just too large. So much that maybe recommending that she turn herself in was, in a way, extremely cruel. Huh? 30 minutes alone with me? My name suddenly came up, and it looked like I was the only one surprised about that. She's an Oni. There was no reason for me to hesitate. Mian had been engulfed by heavy, unopposable tradition. The one who was forced her to kill with her friends. The one who had forced her to kill her friends with her own hands. That was me, and me alone. In fact, with me concerned, it would have been okay for her to blame me. However, I didn't say one word of blame. Far from it, I was guilty of the same crime, and she had let me go. Amidst the fate she could not oppose, she saved me alone. I didn't know whether I should be thankful for that. Thinking upon it now, I didn't know how much easier it would be if I were to be granted the same punishment as Rika-chan and the others. The only thing I knew for sure was that I had an equal duty to bear, the sins that Mion shouldered. So when it came to Mion's last request, there was no reason for me to hesitate. Erna stood up. It looked like she would keep her promise with Mion and leave. I'm going to prison, not like I can take him with me. But where they're cute. When they're so cute you can't resist. Mion took Rena's head and rubbed it violently, like I always did. I began to walk after Mion, who headed for the hallway, when Rena silently stopped me. Hi. I didn't know much about laws, but with many deaths that she had been involved in, the chances of her escaping a heavy punishment seemed non-existent. Mion might not surrender herself to justice, but instead choose to put an end to things herself. Rena had already thought that far ahead. Rena rubbed at her tears, which had fallen without me noticing them. I nodded and followed Mion, who had disappeared out the front door. I could clearly hear Rena sobbing from the other side of the paper door. Something hot burned down my cheeks. They were my tears. I fiercely wiped them away. This was the last of my time I could offer to Mion, so I absolutely didn't want to let her see my tears during it. Mion was already waiting outside the front door. No. No. Something bad is gonna happen soon. Something bad is gonna happen soon. Yeah. How long have I been streaming? I've been streaming for exactly 2 hours and 3 minutes. Okay, that's not that bad. That's not that bad. So we'll keep streaming for about another hour. We'll stop around 11:20, 11:30. Then we might just finish everything up tomorrow night. I put my shoes on. Put on my shoes. Tapped my toes against the floor a few times. Then left. And Mion timidly came over. Why is she turning all red at a time like this? Aww. It was such a modest request. With my permission, her face lit up with glee, like a child being given a toy, and took my arm. Eh, you're not really. Oh, if you want to wrestle, we can wrestle. Back when, nothing had gone wrong yet. During those nostalgic days of the bustling commotion at Angel Mart. I counted back and was amazed. It had only been 1 week ago. I had been arm in arm with Shion then, too. Linking arms with Mion like this really reminded me that they were twins. How much strength they put into it. The sensation of their arms, their warmth, and the blood flowing, I could feel their living sensations were all exactly the same. I see. See. If this were a regular conversation, I might have jumped back, right in the face. Right now, though, no matter what I heard, my mind remained at peace. Not really. They kind of fight sometimes. Yeah, they have to coexist. They are simply what they are. That didn't sound like it meant they got along well. Well, of course they don't get along well. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's instinct. Oh no, I kind of need it for two things. Kind of hard to carry a dish with only one hand. Typing would take forever with only one hand. Were they cursed? Were they self-conscious? The relationship was hard to understand for an outsider. Maybe that wasn't an issue. Wasn't an issue someone like me should intrude on. Just staying silent and nodding gently was the best way to advance the conversation. Mion passed through the wide yard and invited me into the big, desolate forest we seen on the way in. Such a big forest was part of the prosperity property, so I couldn't help but feel small. Ah, no, what's wrong with me? Let's move myself with this. Okay, it's huge. Mion seemed to be silently reminiscing. I couldn't help. I couldn't look into her mind, but she was probably thinking back to those fun days when they played as sisters without any antagonism. Every time the wind blew, it caressed the treetops and leaves, making a swishing murmuring sound. Mion remained silent for a long time, thinking back on her younger sister, whom she had gotten rid of with her own hands. There was no need for me to get a word in. Just walking like this, arm in arm, was enough. Mion suddenly stopped and turned. Really? Mion took a hard look into my eyes, then nodded quietly. Yeah. I wanted to give her the most horrible death of all, so I saved her up for last. Thank goodness, I think. Mion sounded as though she hated Shion, but also deep down she didn't completely detest her. So I took my other hand and rustled Mion's hair with it. Mion didn't only save me, she saved Shion too. Mion had made become a demon and led many people to their deaths, but she fought against it, and she was able to save two people. As I petted Mion, she narrowed her eyes in an entranced smile. Untangled in her untangled her arm from mine, then Mion quietly said, I could sense it. There I would probably find all the sacrifices up until now. Looking at them would mean accepting Rika-chan and Satoko's deaths, as well as accepting that my best friend had done it. I don't really think that counts with murder. It's 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 kind of it's kind of dirty. I, I don't want to look, but also I'm very curious. I was taken back by how ominous this sounded. I remember what Rina had told me. Mia might not surrender herself to justice, but choose to put into things herself. I couldn't leave her on her own. Besides, I agreed to her last request, didn't I? Even if it was hard for me to accept, I'll still do it. Even if I avoid looking, it was something that had already happened. The tree top softly swayed in the wind. Normally I say something rude right back at her, evading the question, but today I didn't. I just answered with a smile. At last, Neon started walking into the thick forest into the deepest part. After following a thin path that looked like an ammo trail for a while, we finally came across a steep incline with a tunnel that reminded me of a coal mine bomb or bomb shelter. While we were surrounded by shallow hills that had been created in a spot not visible from the outside. There were many silhouettes of crows in the trees here and there. The abnormal odor I'd been smelling for a while was doubtlessly escaping from the inside of this place. Where should take you, Keiji? I clenched my fist. Inside there was probably a sight beyond anything I could imagine. If I let my guard down, I might end up vomiting. Even so, I'll endure it. I'll overcome this pain and this suffering. It will never change that Neon is my greatest friend. Yes, you do. She said it! She said it! And say it like it's not related to you. You're Neon. You're not a demon. You're a human. Neon made a gesture like she was wiping tears from her eyes, then placed a hand on the big door of the tunnel entrance. The lock on it was doubly strong looking. It seemed to demand the appropriate resolution from whoever would enter, just like the ritual storehouse. When the double door opened, a stifling rotten air and a bunch of winged insects came rushing out. I remember accidentally killing a hermit crab a long time ago by leaving its tank out of the porch, and how intense the odor it left was. If that was the smell of a corpse, then that was certainly what this smelled like. Inside it was pitch black, but Mion flipped the switch that turned on a light bulb, illuminating the interior. The path turned into a series of intricate wooden tunnels. We passed spaces that looked like they were for storage. We passed places that looked like someone had lived there. All this indicated that it had been used as a bomb shelter and stockpiled during the war. It didn't give an impression of a dugout bomb shelter that had just been left there, though there was a sense of dignity, as though this were a second Zanzaki house constructed underground. Despite being in the pitch darkness below the ground, the voices of the cicadas were entering through the air hole somewhere, giving it a very mysterious feel. Yes. 3 families. Even in modern times. Mia opened a large, strictly different door. And inside was none other than a modern storehouse for ritual implements. Oh no! All the things had been rusty and covered in dust so they didn't seem that real. But the things that were in here were different. Every one of them had been well maintained. The captain stated they might be used right away. Blades gleamed and spikes were sharpened. Also, perhaps a precaution for the splatter of blood. The walls and ceilings were covered in a kind of tiling you would see in bathrooms, and there were even drains that amidst a light slope in the floor. There was also a coiled rubber hose along the wall attached to a faucet, perhaps for cleaning up the splattered blood. She said that Neon pointed deeper into the torture room to spot a veil in the darkness. There were there was surprisingly a room floored with tatami mats, and in the corner was a pile of cushions. I couldn't speak and I couldn't think of anything to say anyway. I said that if Mion revealing all this to me made her heart feel any lighter, then I was prepared to listen for as long as I needed to. Right here. Shion Mion cackled in self appreciation. It wasn't a nice sounding laugh. She nodded slightly. Mion's Watanagashi ended today. I need to tell Shion that I was safe without a moment delay. After all, she was probably trembling in fear at this very moment, worrying about when she would be killed. The obtentious door ostentatious door on the other side opened, revealing what must have been an incredibly expansive space, based on the echo it made. Mian groped around in the darkness, and a handful of naked light bulbs came on here and there. As my eyes adjusted more and more, the great cave itself in the faint light. The walls were bare rock surface, and it felt so savage that the bomb shelter was the most apt term for it. There were small barred rooms, built here and there, like holes made by insects biting their way through a giant piece of fruit. It was immediately clear that each of them was a prison. Their corpses? I grimaced at her having to say it so outright. Can't believe. Can you see their faces in death? Once again, a feeling of regret at having confessed everything to Rika-chan came surging forth. If Mion hadn't attached the word sorry to the end of what she said, I might have punched her. Calm down, Keiji Marbara. You said it yourself, no matter what, Mion Sanosaki is your greatest friend. My greatest friend. I need to hear myself say it out loud. Then came the clattering of bars in one of the cells deeper in. Then I noticed it. I looked up as well. I ran over to the cell. White hands were peeking out through the gaps in the bar. It really was her. Shannon's face twisted out of shape as she screamed. It was because Mion had appeared right behind me. Of course. Shannon didn't know everything was over yet. I spoke in a calm voice as I could manage to try and soothe the agitated Shion. However, it didn't seem like it was getting through her screams. Shion, who was screaming and rattling the iron bars back and forth, was truly in a frantic state. I gave a silent shrug of resignation, giving way to Mion. I had to realize that it was Mion who was the one who locked her in here. And if Mion was on one side had scared Shion this much, then Mion was also the only one who could put an end to this. Mion spoke from over my shoulder, quietly. She burst out into a bizarre laugh, as if trying to make Shion's madness even worse. Shion broke out into a fierce shiver, brought by that laugh, and rattled the iron bars as she wailed. Ugh. I tried to rebuke Neon for flinging terrible words at her at this late in the game, but... And I turned around. Oh god, that face. Neon's mouth. Hey, you can still see the box. Dialogue box. I can even see that still. There you go, it's all gone. Mion's mouth, so much... Mion's mouth, so much that it was hard to believe, had twisted into a shape even thinner. That crescent moon was a smile. I could sense it, like a jolt of electricity. The person here wasn't my best friend Mion. It wasn't the Mion Sansaki who had been tossed about by her heavy duty of succeeding the Sansaki family either. Then Who was she? Bam! I saw sparks flying before my eyes. Like that happens when you get hit by the back of the head. The strength in my body drained instantly, and my head suddenly became heavy. My knees buckled under the temptation and hit the floor. Then my whole body abruptly collapsed. My face should have hit the floor, but it was comfortable, as if I had fallen onto a down-filled futon. My consciousness reeled and then rescinded. It was a kind of sensation, like if you took a nap in the car, but you were still half awake and could listen to your parents talking if they were far away. No, you wouldn't be listening. You would only be hearing it. It was happening so far away, and the conversation was completely unrelated to you, so you would have no interest in it. So whether Shion was yelling in my ears or Mia was in vulgar hysterics, I didn't think it annoying, nor did it interest me. No, don't talk about Jatoko like that. Mion held me up from behind and dragged me across the floor. The soles of my feet scraped on it, and one of my shoes fell off. Shion's emotions exploded outward, and she burst into a bitter weeping. As if her crying had wounded Mion's interest, she flung me down, and returned to the prison cell again. Shion had always acted as though she were a cut above her older sister. That Shion, in such a miserable voice that I couldn't have imagined it during those peaceful times, protested herself before the older sister. She used to scoff at and plead forgiveness. Mion looked down with an expression of cool indifference, one that was plainly smiling with joy. Ah. Mion said she might let me go, but she never said anything about letting Shion go. Before long, Shion got on her hands and knees behind the bars and began to speak weak words of apology. They were too faint for me to hear, but the intention got across. Despite having watching her with a magnificently jubilant expression, Mion kicked the bars and declared she was unsatisfied. Ugh, God, the the voice actress who does twins, she is the screams of terror is ugh. Mion stopped and waved her hand in resignation. No, what's she gonna say now? Not because she had grown impatient, but only because she was taking delight in abusing Shion. Shion's miserable voice cried out, having become utterly hoarse. The sensation tearing through my chest returned a little at a time. I realized it was a feeling of anger bubbling up. It was slowly regaining control of my body. However, I was only able to feel my skin and blood flowing at the moment. I still couldn't voluntarily move my fingers. Something was strange. Something had become strange at some point. Until just a few moments ago, I was sure that this had been Mion, but at some point, she had become someone else. The Mion I knew well wouldn't never do something so nasty like enjoy trampling over someone's dignity like this. When I ran over to Shion's cell earlier, had the real thing been swapped out with a fake right behind me? Anyway, this couldn't possibly be Mion. Oh. Blood circulated through my whole body. My numb senses were returning just a little bit more. While Shion is still holding Mion's. No, that thing pretending to be Mion's attention. Hurry up. Uh... Mion's burst of laughter echoed thoroughly throughout the big cave, growing to a terrifying level. That was not the laugh of someone who was alive in this world. It was none other than the laugh of a demon from the bowels of the earth. She laughed from her stomach until she grew tired of it and stopped smiling suddenly as if snipping a wire. She's doing it for the man she loves. Mian began to drag me again after I finally got the feeling in my body back and pulled me towards the torture chamber. After dragging me to the torture chamber, she skillfully trapped me into the restraining table. Before I knew it, I was sprawled out in a bound. She forced open my hands, with which I couldn't even make a satisfying fist, and tightly restrained each one of my fingers. She fastened only my hands, and my fingers at that, tightly with hinges, and locked them in place. The doors to the big cave with the jails had been left open so I could hear Shion's cries of mortification the entire time. Give it a fucking rest. Feeling my body return, and the first action I took was to yell off that thing that looked like Mion. Mian brought over something like a toolbox. From inside it, she removed a large metal hammer, and next to that, she began to line up what looked like a long, strangely shaped nails, whose ends had been turned into hooks, the kind you see on a harpoon. Who are you? You're not my best friend. Mia snorted and continued her preparation for the horrifying torture. Demon. Huh? Give Mian back! Mian stood there for a few moments, their jaw hanging open, not having expected me to say that. I myself knew that I was about to go insane. I knew it was nonsense to demand Mia's return when she was right in front of me. But, but, this person in front of me couldn't possibly have been Mion. There was no way I couldn't accept that. So this is what I thought. Mion really had been possessed by a demon and was controlling Mion as if it were a separate personality. Mion was just a victim being manipulated by it. The evil one was really this thing. It all had to be doing of this demon possessing her. God, she has a great Joker laugh. I love it. When Mian heard that, she started to guffaw? Goof? What the fuck is that word? Laughing so hysterically that she started to cough and almost choke. Yes, Keiichi learned from the first arc. Trust his friends. Even when one of them might be possessed by a demon. No matter what, I couldn't lose to that laughter of hers. I shouted loudly. I shouted from the bottom of my heart. So the real Mion, trapped inside the Mion I saw in front of me, would be able to hear. What happened? What's going on? Oh god, she's having the time of her life. This is like a good show for her. The tears welled up and flooded down her face. Her hands were busy with the restraints, so she couldn't even wipe them. She just let them flow. Fight. Fight all! Fight! Nanadasu! Mia, desperately enduring her laughter, pressed one of the long nails to the tip of my left pinky. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. In her left hand was the hammer. At her side were a dozen more nails. I could tell that what she was about to do. Though I wish I couldn't. Even so, I couldn't afford to be scared. That's why I shouted. And she's having the time of her life. Audience, that's a good laugh to me. You feel like you're in your pain. Do it for one special. Then I wept. Only sobs came out. They weren't in acceptance of the torture about to be performed. However, they were tears of regret that Mion had lost to the demon. Yet a small change did occur in the Mion in front of me. Her heightened excitement was draining, little by little. By the time I realized it, the one in front of me had returned to being Mion. But I didn't know if this was Mion or just a display of monetary humanity the demon have recovered. Yes? I noticed that there were tears forming in her eyes. Do you guys know what it is? I know what it is. Do you know? There's a sad and yet reproachful light in Mion's eyes. I don't know. What gave the demon the chance to beat Mion? The tears welling up in her eyes spilled downward all of a sudden. Ah! Just give her the stupid doll. You could just give her the stupid doll, but no, you didn't. You had to give it to. You had to give it to Renna. You had to give it to Renna. Just give it to Mion. No, that's what happened. The doll I got. The doll I got when we had our club meeting at the toy store that Sunday? No, I don't understand. That can't be. It's just a stupid doll. I don't understand anything. A mistake. Now, a mistake that I made on that day was what messed everything up. I didn't do anything. I wanted to say, like I just remember something as I recall that day. Renan told me about that, and I thought I had apologized. I didn't apologize to Mion though. It had been Shion. In other words, oh God, I hadn't said a single word of apology to Mion. Today I came to this house saying I had something to apologize for, but there was a word of apology about this. Come to think of it, when I apologized for going into the ritual storehouse, Mion looked a little bit lonely. She was disappointed. Why didn't I realize that until now? Renetta told me at the time, and now she herself, no, the demon was telling me, is the only way for a dense idiot like me to be cured, to die altogether. I could no longer hold back the hot tears from pouring out of me. I simply just cried and reflected indifferently on the taste of my tears, on the taste of regret. Ah! At least it's the left hand, not the hand you write with. I pressed the tip of a nail to my left pinky finger. My wrists, my arms, and all the joints on my fingers were strapped in so tightly it hurt. I couldn't even twitch. If it will state, the demon, then do whatever you will. What? Mia was silent. She did, however, wait for me to speak. You disappear. Give that body back to Mion. The real Mion. Okay, we gotta go. I need to go to sleep soon. Alright, let's just say this real quick. Okay. And quick game. Okay. Sorry, I just really need to go real quick. Thank you all for showing up, even just for a little bit. I always appreciate it. So, unless something changes, I will change my schedule around so I can try to play this tomorrow, just so we can finish up Watanagashi. You might go start around 9 or 8. I'll have to see then. I'll try to put posts up on Twitter or X, where the hell it is, just to keep you guys informed. But yeah, I do really need to leave, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Have some amazing dreams or nightmares. Have a good night or evening or morning, wherever you may be in the world. And we'll see each other later. Catch you later. Later. Bye-bye.